Welcome everyone. My name is Sivam Velaidam. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to our Open Up live talk show. I'm the founder and president at Voice of Men 360. Just to give you a little bit about our organization, and then of course, we have an amazing guest for today. Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization founded in 2020 in London, Ontario, Canada, dedicated to supporting men and boys through life challenges. We align with the International Men's Day movement and its six pillars, which promote the well-being of men and boys worldwide. Open Up creates a safe, inclusive space for people from all walks of life to share their life journeys, challenges, and triumphs. The program airs Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring one guest per episode. Before I introduce our special guest today, I would like to review our disclaimer. We would like to remind everyone that Voice of Men 360 is committed to promoting peaceful harmony in all our interactions. The views and opinions shared by our speakers are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Voice of Men 360. Please note that our content is not a substitute for professional, medical, or therapeutic advice. If you are struggling with the personal challenges, we strongly encourage you to reach out to a qualified expert. For questions or concerns about today's episode or any of our content, feel free to email us at info@voiceomen360.org. Like I said, we have an amazing guest for today. His name is Curtis Bryan, Secretary, Men of Today, Men of Tomorrow, and International Men's Day, Bahamas. He is joining from Bahamas. Hey, Curtis, thank you for joining.
Well, good evening, and thanks for being allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. So I want to start with this question, probably taking back to some years back. Um, Before we get into your work with the young people, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey from losing your mother at a young age and helping your father raise your siblings to become a mentor, father, church elder, and community volunteer?
Hey, yes, my name's Curtis Bryan. I was born here in the Bahamas on the island. Well, the Bahamas is an archipelago of islands, and so I was born on one of the islands called Eleuthera, meaning land of freedom. We came to the capital, Nassau, Nassau, New Providence, and a few years after coming to Nassau, we lost our mother, and I'm the eldest of five children. So I had to eventually, I lost my mother at 10, 9, 10, 10. And eventually I had to help my father with the rearing of my younger siblings. So my mentorship began from then at that young age of about 9, 10. Actually, before that, because my mother was sick for a long period before she died. So had to help around the house, doing chores, running errands, doing some things that children or young people my age were not doing. So my mentorship and counseling and guiding other young people began at a very young age. I went to school here locally, straight up to the college level, and worked in the church with young people. And so mentorship has always been something that I've been doing as a youngster, as a young man, and even as an adult. I continue to do it because someone helped me.
Absolutely, because everyone has their own journey. So we had to go through it, and then To relate your situation, what not exactly, but I lost my father when I was 1.5 years old. On the other hand, my mother took three of us and then raising, and then my father's brother, actually uncle, helped to help us too. So everyone has their own journeys to go through. You have mentioned that as a young man, you were sometimes misguided, but positive older men and women helped steer you in a better direction. Who were some of those role models, and what did they give you that you needed at the age of your life?
Well, I can think of many of them at this time, but there's two that stand out. Uh, and there's a number that stand out, but there's two who are both deceased at this time, Vincent Sullivan and a gentleman who just passed this year. We call him Uncle Cyril Macmillan. They were members of the church that I grew up in, the Grandstown Seventh-day Adventist Church, and they were friends of my family who, whenever there was a need or I fell down or there was some place I needed to go to talk, these two persons were always there. There were others, two I still talk with today. Uh, Pedro Rule, he's an elder in our church. And then there's Kenny DeVoe. He's a pastor now in our church. These persons, they helped me so much that I have to pay it forward and help somebody as I travel, as I go through life, because these persons help me. How do they help me? They were a listening ear. Just times when I needed someone to talk to, these guys were there. They helped. They sat down. I don't know if they talked what I told them, but I've not heard anything. I'm 50 plus 59 now, and I've not heard any of the bad things or the good things that I would have said to these four gentlemen. And so they were there for me. And sometimes young people just need someone that they can talk to, someone who is there to listen, someone who can, of course, share a dollar with them when there is a need. And so these four, Cyril Macmillan, Mr. Sullivan, Pedro Rule, and Kenny DeVoe, my president at this time of my church, they were there. There were many others, ladies too, but these four stand out most in my guidance as a young person and even to this day.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of people, even sometimes a teacher, sometimes other male figures. Anyone walk into our life, they leave some sort of footprints. But whoever makes a positive impact, that's going to long last. Um, at the same time, you are giving back to the society and also the community that you are living. But what I want to ask you is that how important is that, especially for boys, even young men, to one is seek help. At the same time, somebody out there who can listen to them. How important is that? If you look back your life and then nowadays, how important is that?
Sivan, it's very important. Why? Because today in our, right now, mental health is a it's like top on many persons' lists or many organizations' lists, especially the one you and I belong to, International Men's Day. We talk about mental health and nurturing of young people. So nurturing, being there, guiding young people, or being a counselor or someone a young person can just go to, talk to, is very important. If I didn't have those persons back then, I may have been one counted today in a statistic of suicide. We don't know. I can't remember having suicidal thoughts, but you never know. But because the pressures, the peer pressure was there. And then the peer pressure came, you have to have someone that you could run to. So it's very important. And we should always see it as being important. I believe that one of the persons that I invited to watch today, this program, is a person who counsels professionally, a doctor. And so he would share, he would tell you oftentimes that you just need someone that you can go to in that moment. There's always a need. And so positive role models will forever be a need.
Absolutely. One thing I also want to, bring it to your to this conversation is that how important is that how we can make or you know men, especially young boys and even young men, they don't seek help. They are, they want to keep themselves. So, how we can motivate them, or how we can make them to, hey, it's okay to seek help. What do you think?
First of all, when talking with young people, you have to gain their trust. You can't just go one time and say, "Hey, this is the neck, this is this, and this." Uh, we just come, we just stop in by. You have to gain their trust. You can't do it one time. You have to continuously talk with them, speak with them, find out how they're doing, talk with them about different things, about their school work. Don't try to pry and get into their business, but let them be able to come to you and talk. So you encourage them. You let them know that there's always someone for them to talk to. And sometimes they're suspicious of you. So you have to build the relationship first of all. I believe we have to build wholesome relationships with our young people instead of just rushing in and saying, "Hey, I'm here to help you. What you need? What's going on in your life?" Sit down, get to know the young people, young person, and build a relationship, first of all, so that they can be able to trust you. And if need be, you also work with the parents. Try to get to know the parents. One of the organizations, I think you want to come to that I belong to, we involve the parents in our mentorship. We involve the parents with the young man so that the parents can know what is happening, what is going on with those young people to a certain extent, because some things you just can't, divulge. You can't think.
Absolutely. That's my second question. Is that through men of today, men of tomorrow, you work with the boys and young men from ages 8 to 25. What are some of the biggest challenges you see young males facing today, and what do they most need from positive adult role models? One thing I had to add here is that sometimes you cannot share something with your parents or with your siblings, so you had to go to third person or things like that. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you see when you're having conversation with them?
One of the things right now, it's a new organization about 4 years in. We just celebrated our 3 years. We're going into being our fourth year now. We just celebrated our third year anniversary in July. So we began our fourth year the end of June. July began our fourth year. And We are now in primary and secondary or middle schools, and up to grade nine. With our first set of persons are now in going in grade nine, starting the end of this month, right? So one of the things that is needed is guidance with schoolwork. Some of our young people, especially in the inner city, some really don't believe that education is important. And so having the talking with them and letting them know that I was, probably right in your place, in your position. I needed guidance too. I did some wrong things. I tried it this way. I was able to speak with this person. So why don't you let's see if we can look at some ways where we can correct the situations. Then there's some financial situations that you have to also deal with. I'm not saying that you push your hand in your pocket and you give out monies that you may not be able to give, but you can help to guide persons into the places where the help can be received. Help can be received, and we have to. One another need is the purchase of school materials. Sometimes young men don't take part because they do not have the materials that are needed to help them to excel in school or to do better.
Absolutely, and of course, a lot of pressures nowadays. You can see that not only the boys, of course, the parents, the families, they are going through a lot of pressures too. So it's very hard to handle alone. So it's they need some support from outside. So it's always good to see hear people like yourself and the organization doing a lot of work for them. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you for bringing it to that to the conversation. So your organization supports young people through homework, sports, counseling, school programs, and simply being someone they can turn to. How important is that idea of just being there, especially for a boy who may not have a trusted adult he feels comfortable talking to? Well, the question or similar things we earlier we discussed that one, but what do you want to add on that?
Okay, yes, man of today, man of tomorrow helps boys from ages 8 to 25, right? That's our thing, working with boys from 8 to 25. That hence the name Man of Today, helping the men of tomorrow become their best selves. Helping them, I'm in charge of the education part of it, right? We call it progressive learning part, where when we go to the school, we go to the schools every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every weekday. We go to the schools. School comes out at 3. We're there at 5 to 3:10 to 3, and we have them for 1 hour, sometimes a little more, hour and a half, or we stay as long as we need to. And at that hour, when the hour I'm in charge of, we ask them to present their homework and find out if there's a need, if they need help with the homework. Okay, they may need help with certain things in the homework. A child may need some help in science, another may need some help in math. And so we try as best we can to find the help that they need. Sometimes we assist, and we've seen grades gotten better because of our helping. We've had parents come to us. My chairman and executive director, Mr. Dario Maycock, he's been giving reports about parents who've been saying they've seen turnaround in the last 3 years of their children. We've had young people who were not interested And I believe it's because we're not just focusing on academics. Sometimes we have it wrong. We focus only on one area. But as you would have mentioned just now when asking the question or looking at it, you talked about the sports. You mentioned the sports. Yes, there's a day for sports. There's a day when they have just fun. And after every session, every class, we provide a meal for our young people. Sometimes a young man may have gone to school today without a meal. And we try to make it as healthy as we possibly can. So we don't serve the sweet drinks. We don't serve the stuff with all the ketchup and mayo and all that thing, the fried foods. We serve healthy sandwiches or maybe some other kind of food. It's on the healthy wave. And I've and there's a fruit also that's served with it, and there's water. So it's a well-rounded, well thought out plan. Okay. And then from there, we've now had a basketball team with the various schools. Because remember now, these, I'm not remember, but I'm saying to you, these young people are not from one school. We're in 3 primary schools and 3 middle schools. And now we now have a basketball team and we are badminton and doing other things. So we're doing chess and all, chess and checkers, and we're entering tournaments. We've not won any as yet, but we're looking that in this our 4th year, things are better.
Absolutely. So a lot of works behind that, and also you're trying to help as much as you can. Since you have been talking education, I want to ask one question here. Maybe there are 2 parts in there, but um, uh, see if I can bring it to the. One is when you go to schools and then helping those boys. Are you able to? Are you talking to the school system, or are you talking to the class? Uh, Both boys and girls about boys' men's mental health. I mean, boys' mental health. That's one. Second thing is that if you look at the ratio around the world, many part of the world, boys are less performing in academic, and even we have less male teachers in many schools. So what do you want to say on that, or what do you have what is your opinion? What is your experience on that?
Well, the boys sometimes, as I would have mentioned earlier, sometimes it's you have to know what the root cause of the problem is. There may be a little problem, like the boy may not have the tools to work with that is causing him to pull back and say that this isn't for me. That's one thing. He may have come from a home. The second thing may be he may have come from a home where education is not a real thing. And then 3, he may be a young man who's not into academics. He may be a young man who wants to do something with his hands and probably be a mechanic and be a carpenter or mason and a block maker, different things. So he may just want to he may not just, he may want to be a gamer. So you have to, and these are the types of things that we learn from our young people. And so we're able to treat our young people one on one. You don't just lump them in a pool. So you look at them, you look at what they say that they want to be eventually, You speak with the teachers. That's the one thing, the one good thing one of the good things that we have going is that we speak with the principal of the school and we have a relationship with the teachers of grades 4 through 6 for all of the boys that are in our groups. And we find out where is the need with this particular child. Because some children they may not need the educational assistance. They may need the counseling, as you have mentioned also. They may need talking to. They may need someone there just to say, let me call you when I'm in trouble. Let me call you when I need someone to talk to. Let me call you when my daddy or my uncle doesn't show up. Let me just call you. Let my mother be able to call you just because we can or we need to. And that may be the problem with a child, not the academics, because there is a young man, his academics right on, spot on, but he have behavioral issues. And so this is where our counselor steps in. Our professional now steps in and is able to work along with the young man who just need not just someone to talk to, some counseling to help to curb the hyperactivity that he sometimes finds himself involved in.
Absolutely, yeah, because every individual is different, and then depends on the situation, depends on the circumstances. You have to deal with it because some days is very normal, some days is very hard, some days is, it's very different. So being there, it's very very critical, especially for boys. Absolutely. So you are raising two sons yourself. How has being a father influenced the way you mentor other boys and young men, and what values are you most intentional about passing on to the next generation?
Well, first of all, I made a mistake. I raised three sons. Our oldest is 37. And then our second young man is 22. And our third young man is 19. Every child is different. Everyone is different. Everyone is different. The oldest one was calm and meek. The second one loved to go out, loved friends, loved this, loved that. The third one doesn't want to see people. So, as with my young mentees, I have to respect each of my three sons. So my wife and I, we normally we normally discuss them and we say, we sort of kind of draw a picture of what happened today and see how it was dealt with. Two of them are athletes, and everything is about basketball, volleyball, softball, baseball, something. It's about a game, football, you name it, it's about a game for two of them. The other one doesn't want to see people, doesn't want to go out, but academically, they've all done well. The oldest one has finished with university. Well, so far, I understand he wants to go back and do a master's degree, but that's on him. The second one is finishing up his bachelor's degree right now as we speak. School begins for him tomorrow. And the third one is starting his second year of university in Mexico. So, yes, they're away from us, but that doesn't mean anything. We just spoke with you and I was having this conversation prior to the show. We just spoke with the second young man. He just arrived in Missouri today and he's in his dorm and getting that prepared because school begins for him tomorrow. The youngest one, he left here on August 4th and he traveled through to Mexico and he got into his dorm safely and school begins for him the first week in September. But he's working. He's working on campus translating for English speaking people because he's been there a year and speaking Spanish now and able to translate. So, it was a joy growing my sons and attending different and various events with them at school, other functions. They were good boys. I must say they were good boys, and we continue to have an okay or good relationship. I
Absolutely.
believe that they can call me whenever they need something, and they do, especially finances.
Absolutely. It's good to hear. Absolutely. Because yeah, it's a not everyone has that kind of relationship or the luxury, I would say, because many stories we hear time to time. It's a really heartbreaking. But what I want to ask you is that let's talk about the father and son relationship. So when you compare or when you go back, your father, the relationship with your father, and then you as a child or a young boy, what did you learn from him? What kind of relationship? How was your memories and things like that? And then comparing your father and son relationship, you with you as kids and things like that. Can you share some of the memories though?
Well, Savan, I don't know who is watching, right? But I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can. My father and I didn't have a good relationship. In the middle, in the beginning, awesome relationship. After a while, I thought I was a big man. And so I wanted to do my own thing. And my father was strict. And so we didn't have a good relationship. But he was someone that I look back on. Well, let's put it like this. In his last years, his last later years, we had the best relationship because I always respected him. I fed him. Um, he was, when you look back, he was a good father because when our mother died, I was 10, as I mentioned, and I'm the eldest of five children. Well, five children here in the Bahamas. And there were family members of my mother who wanted or who said to him, I could help you with one child. The one thing I can say my father didn't do was let nobody take us and separate us. And so today we have this bond as siblings. Yes, we have problems, but we have this bond as siblings that our father instilled. He made sure that we stuck together. Because if you couldn't take five, you couldn't take one. That was his words. They were his words to my mother's family who wanted to take one. We had an aunt living in the US, and she wanted to take the middle child. She always loved him. Then we had an aunt on the island where I was born, where my mother is from. Was from, Eleuthera. She wanted to take the youngest one. My father said, if you can't take five, you can't take one. So today we have a good relationship. We talk to each other as often as we can. We still have family functions. And the one thing I take from my father, And I always tell my boys when I would say to them if they were acting up, I said, if Benjamin Bryan was around now, you couldn't do this, you know. And my youngest son, who is not short on words, he always say to me, well, Benjamin Bryan isn't here. You in charge. So what you saying? And that's the kind of a relationship that we had. It was rocky, but in the end, until he died, in my arms, actually, my father did, in my arms. I had bathed him that Sunday morning, and I remember it like it was yesterday or today. This is Sunday. And I bathed him that Sunday morning and was sitting down with him. He wanted to lie down. He was feeling uncomfortable. And he died in my arms. That was my daddy. The relationship was rough for many years, for 20 years, but it got better. And so I hope that my children would remember that my daddy did the best he can with the resources he had. He always looked out for us and tried to counsel us and make sure that we had what we needed, not wanted, what we needed to survive or to make it through in this life. And that's what my father did. He did the best he could with what he had to ensure that his children had the best of everything educationally, religiously, mentally, physically, everything he looked out for. And that's the one thing that I wish that my children would see, that I tried my best. That's what I wish that anyone I talk to, my mentees, would see is that, hey, Curtis, Mr. Bryan, Uncle Curtis, whatever they call me, did his best to ensure that we succeed and live our best lives.
That's so beautiful. That's awesome to hear. The relationship. It's not we cannot never compare because every journey is different, and then your father and son, that's a different story, experience, and everything, and then same thing with your son and yourself. But when we look at outside of our families, it's very hard to see a lot of even fathers or even sons. They don't want to talk about father and son relationship because they had rough times, and then even there are no many reasons for hating each other. But at the same time, nobody is perfect. We don't know what kind of experience or environment our fathers went through. They had what kind of life, and then before their fathers, So it's a generational thing, right? What I want to ask you is that when you talk about father and son relationship, and then you, of course, you shared a lot of memories. So, what's your advice or message for the young men? Obviously, where they will be becoming a father or even young fathers today. How important is that to create a positive impacts or positive memories? Beautiful memories. How important is that? Not only boys, but talking about children, so like male or female. I mean, girls or boys. What do you say?
Every child wants to know who their father is. There are a lot of missing fathers. And our group that we belong to, International Men's Day, know this, that they're missing fathers. So, what we try to do in that group here is we try to encourage men who are fathers, who may have severed relationships or broken, not severed, but broken relationships with their children and family members to man up and to reach out to your children, because every young man wants to know. Some of us know who our children are, but we've never reached out to them. And the children are there hurting. 40-year-olds are hurting because their father didn't reach out to them. My thing is that if you know that your son is 2 blocks down the road, or maybe a country away or somewhere, go and find him or her, your daughter. Find them. I'm not saying it's going to make things right. However, it will probably change some stuff. Some negative things probably may change into positives, because every child I know when talking to my young mentees, especially those whose fathers are not in their lives, they want their father. And so I would say to young fathers or fathers to be, always try your best to be your best. Whatever it is you do your best. If you do your best, then hey, not much else can be asked of you, because you've done your best. You taking your children to school, for me, that was a big thing. That was the time when we bonded. When my oldest young man came back home from school, school, he went to university in Jamaica. When he came back home, every opportunity we had, we spent together. We went places together. I love camping, so I take my whole family on camping trips all over with me, so that we can spend that time together. Have that time. We can be out in nature and see how good it is that we have a home to come back to. We have a place, we have school. We're not out on the streets begging and don't know where the next meal at this time is coming from. So you have to be appreciative of what you have now, and we have to teach our children to appreciate the small things, so that when the big things come, if they do, you can be able to share them with others and not just keep it to yourself. Because of what someone did for me, I'm now volunteering and giving back to others, because someone helped me when I was a struggling teenager, my worst years, my teen years.
One thing I want to say is that, like I said earlier, is nobody is perfect, either father or son or kids. So, like you said, it's better to reach out to them. You don't want to carry your burden or the guilty feeling in your lifetime, and then whenever either one of them is passed away or no more here, then how are you going to handle yourself, right? So it's a very heartbreaking. At the same time, is still people are. It doesn't matter how long you are carrying, is still carrying, and then they are blaming each other. But even after death, passing away, sometimes the people, they don't understand, or they don't want to give up, or they don't want to forgive. So it's very hard to see that some people, they don't understand at all. So the human bonding and relationship, maybe they're missing the value and everything. Um, One thing is always, I can see that you are giving back to your community. That's your one of the passions. So volunteerism has been a major part of your life. Why do you believe it is particularly important for men to volunteer, mentor, and become more visible in schools, churches, and sports programs and community organizations? What do you think?
I believe that it is important for us as men to be a part of the community because and other stuff because we are looked at as leaders and an authority. And when we are around, our young people may tend to act differently. Those who want to fight and carry on may calm down. So, men, I believe that as men, we should, we should, and I stress it, we should be a part of a volunteering program. Why? Because it you feel good when you've gone out there and it makes you feel good, you know, especially if someone did something for you that's memorable. I mentioned only 4 young men who helped me as a young man, but there are more. You know, I go to a church and I thank God for my church family. I thank every day. I thank I'm so happy for my church family because when I was a troubled teenager, I did everything. I partied, I did it all. These were persons, they didn't look down on me. And that's the thing. As men in our volunteer activities, don't look down on the young people. Don't say why they doing this. Why are they acting this way? Remember you were a teen too? Can you remember some of the things that you've done? So this is why we do what we do. We try to steer people away from the things that we would have been through so that they won't go through. Now, some persons, they say they want to feel, they want to know, they want to know how it is, what it is. But you don't have to because I'm giving you my experience. I'm telling you what I went through. So you don't have to go through that. And this is what I try to tell my boys. If I tell you all that I've been through, I don't know. You may look at me differently. So I try to help my young men in my home, the 3 that I've had, Ahmad, Kanobri, and Elroy, Ahmad, Curtis, and Elroy. I try to help them by counseling them. And I take this out with me. And when I do that, men, when we volunteer and we help others, we feel good. It makes us feel good. We share what we have with others. It makes us feel good. And and it makes that child who you would have helped, or that person, it may be an adult, feel good, or turn their lives around and be in a better place. So it's not about you, it's about helping the other person. So I encourage everybody to help somebody. And you may think that you can't do anything. You may say, what can I do? Well, Curtis, you all went to college and you all could do this. Hey, hey, come on. Everybody have something they can give back. You don't have to give back finances. You don't have to give back clothes. You can probably help someone just by walking and holding their hand, sharing a smile with somebody. Somebody just need a shoulder, allowing your shoulder to be that shoulder for someone to rest their head on, or holding someone's hand and allowing them to get up the stairwell may be your way of giving back. Just give back.
Absolutely, yeah. Curtis, it's so amazing. I can listen on and on. What I want to add to that is that every one of us are here for a reason, and then we have our responsibility and things like that to do that. If you are learning something and then if you are not utilizing or if you are not using, then what's the point of having that learning, or what kind of what's the point of having that knowledge, right? Same thing is that if you are helping or if you are being helped, then you are also giving back, and then you are also helping others too, because it's a human chain reaction. Is that somebody else help you, some you will helping, and then they will help somebody else, right? Absolutely. Um, what I want to ask you is that let's say you have been working with young boys, young men in the past number of years. So when they come back, and then you know what, or after a while, you're seeing them, maybe a couple of years later, you're seeing them, and then what kind of feedback or how do you see them? Absolutely, you already said that you feel, happy and glad to see you help them. That's your own satisfaction. But how about others who were in the position, receiving the help, and then uh, after seeing that becoming a big man, growing man, and then young man in the family, in the community, what do you see? What kind of impact or what kind of outcome you see in them?
I talk on a regular basis to young people I would have worked with in the church level, in church. And there was this young man I just used to give him a ride home from school some days. He went to school with my sister, and some days I would just give him a ride home from school. And there are days when he visit us in the Bahamas. He lives abroad. He just say, "Boy, thanks for those rides," because I remember some days it was raining, and my father was not going to get me from school until after 5 p.m. And you gave me a ride and never talked about it. Giving a ride. I told you there's something you can do for somebody, and they remember the good that you would have done. There's another young man who always, when he came home from university, he told my older son, he said, "Hey, hey, hey, I was here first. Curtis, it's my daddy before he was your daddy." I said, "Okay, all right." And things like that, it makes you feel good that they remembered. One, they didn't have to, and you're not looking for any thank yous or nothing like that. However, when the thank yous do come, they're appreciated. And it makes you realize that what you did not go in vain, or it helped in some kind of way. Then there's this group of young people that I took home from church every Saturday. And if I ate just white rice and gravy, they ate white rice and gravy. Now, I'm stretching that because that is not what I would eat. But if that was all I had, this young man and his two sisters, they would come, and their parents allowed me as a single young man to take their children home. Then it got to the point where he would bring his cousins. And so they would bring more. So, it grew. And to this day, they're thanking you for sharing with them. A young lady introduced me in church yesterday. I was the speaker, I was the guest speaker at a church yesterday. And she introduced me. And when she opened her mouth and she said, I really appreciate this elder because he's always interested in the young people, even me. It made me feel good. I didn't even know my little questions about how's school going, how's your day to day. It goes somewhere. So, yes, everyone can do something. Everyone, I cannot stress that enough, Sivan. Everyone can do something to help to make somebody's life a better life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, it is not only yourself when you are doing something, and also the receivers. Sometimes some people, I'm not saying everybody, but some people, you feel, what it may not be appreciated, but yeah, along the way, they will do something to other people, so it will be paid off. So it's not the matter of oh, what they whether they're going to thank you or not, but it's part of your own decision choice, right? That's my second. I mean, the last question is that for the man listening, uh, who says, "I'm not a counselor, teacher, or youth worker. What can I really offer a young person?" What would you say to him, and what is the one simple way he can start becoming a positive influence in a young person's life today?
This crazy question that may have been asked before of persons, what is it that you have in your hand? What can you do? And I said it already. Everyone can do something. A smile, helping someone up, giving someone a ride, sharing your lunch in school. Young people can do that. Sharing your lunch at work. People come to work and they may not have lunch. Things may be a little rough. Sitting down, talking with somebody, just sharing a story, not getting into personal business, but every man can offer. I don't care your situation. You have something to offer. There's a young man, when you see him, his car is filled with children. He is taking young boys, especially, out to do something. He finds work for them to do. He take them to positive events where they can be filled. So there's always something. There's always something. We just need to find it because you never know what. I didn't know that I would be a youth leader in my church. I ended up being the youth leader of the assistant youth director of my conference, which is a group of churches together and traveling all over the Bahamas, sharing word. Use whatever's in your hand. If it's money, yeah, because one book says to us, money answereth all things. That's good. Use it. Or you may not be the person who wants to be out there in the rough. Give the money to a nonprofit organization who can then find something to do with the funds. So it's always something we can do. I don't know what's your need in Canada. Canada's need may be different from what the Bahamas needs, right? And so where you are, look at where you are. School is about to open here in our country. If someone's listening here in the Bahamas, probably right now there's discounts on school supplies and it's VAT free. So you go to the stores, buy some books, probably, don't sell it to the children, give it to somebody who may need it. Find out if they need a school bag or if they need a pair of shoes. And if you can't buy the shoes by yourself, get someone to help you to purchase the pair of shoes. I talked to a parent the other day because we were doing a school giveaway at our church, and the parent said, "My child needs 5 pairs of socks." I said, five, one a day. So I said, "So how have you bought them as yet?" She said, "No, I haven't bought them as yet. But if I get $20 or $25, I could buy them." That was my way of finding out how someone else could help. So I got someone to help that mother. And then we moved on and found out what, and there's opportunities in our faces sometimes. We just don't see them or we're not looking at them.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you because when we are open, when we are willing to help, support, there are many, many, many ways, millions of ways out there. The only thing is be open-minded and then willing to help, support. Um, Not only schools but any situations like we already said. If any person is going through some sort of life challenges or something, just listen to them. Not You don't need to just keep your ears for a few minutes or so. So you don't need to buy, or you don't need to give money or anything. So there are millions of ways that you can do that at the same time. um, so I heard somewhere, I would say that when you are in the position to help someone or to support someone, you are already blessed. You are a blessed person, though. So because the other person is in the need and you are in the helping stage, so you are blessed. If somebody is actually you are helping, and you are blessed, though. So, Curtis, I really want to take say a big thank you for you, not only you, at the same time, your whole the team and the organization. You guys are doing an amazing job, and of course, time to time we'll be chatting, and we had to discuss more and more. We want to bring more topics, more discussion to the platform, so we can create more awareness. We can reach out to more people. Thanks a lot, Curtis. So this is amazing to have you. Pleasure to meet you too virtually.
Same here, Sivan. It was a pleasure being with you this evening. And I want to say thanks for allowing me to share my views on your program. I You are doing an awesome job, and I watched the posts that you put in our global chat from time to time. Always very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Absolutely. To the listeners and viewers, and I already displayed his email address, his website address, and social media handling, and other email address. And please go to or send an email to him, and probably you can be one of them. You can help them. You can involve in those communities and then help other people too. Absolutely. And one more request to everyone: please share this video, this discussion with somebody else, because it can be one word or one line or the whole conversation, or somebody can pick something from this conversation. This way, we can make sure, or we can make some sort of positive impact on others' life. Absolutely. So do that, so this way we can reach out more people too. So thanks a lot once again to everyone, including Curtis. Thank you.
Thank you.
One request or announcement is that if you guys are interested to be part of this conversation, joining our podcast, open up on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, it depends on your time zone. We can make some arrangements. But if you are interested to share, willing to share your life journey, life experiences with others, absolutely, you can reach out to us info@voiceomen360.org, and voiceomen360 at voice YouTube. There's a YouTube video channel that you can subscribe to. We have done over 650 episodes on different topics, so you can subscribe. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.